Hey there guys, welcome back to Skirmish Miniature Gaming, and welcome Warcry gamers, because we have the first of, well, except for if you count Fire Slayers, I suppose, the first of the review slash faction focuses that are going to be releasing every day, pretty much, unless there's a battle report up on on a specific day. Every day of the week, and we're going to cover all of the factions essentially as best I can. These are usually up to like 15-20 minute vids. I try to keep them as short as I can, and in this one I'm going to be doing Nurgle Daemons. We've got the Mortals coming up as well, but yeah, I'll be covering all of them, so do subscribe if you're new to the channel, and throw a like on the video. Also leave us comments down below as to what you think about this faction, whether you're playing them. Also check out, I've got a battle report that went up yesterday for the Demons of Nurgle versus, there was the members game against Bone Splitters, and the first one was against Al's Caradron Overlords. If you want to check that one out to see them in action, please do, because there may be small spoilers in this faction focus slash review of that, so if you want to watch the game first and you don't want any spoilers, go and check that out first. Otherwise, like I say, go and check out those other reviews after you've watched this one. Otherwise, I'm going to get straight into it. Above me here you should be able to see all of the fighter options for the Maggotkin of Nurgle Daemons. Plague Bearers are like your normal demons for Nurgle, essentially. You should be pretty familiar with them. Nurglings are the little kind of clusters of, almost like, I want to say they're baby Plague Bearers. I'm not familiar with Nurgle, to be honest, but that's what they look like. They're pretty crazy little things, good models as well in Warcry. The Beasts of Nurgle are the big, splurging, like monstrous looking things that are just look like they're made of all sorts of things, and they look like if you pop them they'd blow up with all sorts of acid all over you, and not very nice. Then last of all you've got the Plague Drones. These guys are awesome models. They're these big, almost like fleas. Mosquitoes is probably the best way to describe them, and they've usually got either the Mortals or the Plague Bearers in this case riding them with specific weapons. Otherwise we'll go into their specific abilities, faction specific abilities. Above me here you should see them. First one on a double is a universal thing that any of them can use. Disgustingly resilient. So if you play I think 40k as well, but Age of Sigmar, Disgustingly resilient is like an additional 5-up save, but in Warcry they've turned it into a double ability. Roll a number of dice equal to the value of this ability. For each 4+, remove 1 damage point allocated to this fighter. So essentially a lot of the Nurgle rules you'll find are to do with healing. They are all pretty much have toughness 3, the Nurgle fighters, except for the leader, drone, and the Beast of Nurgle. But the reason behind that is that they've got low toughness but a lot of wounds, and so it takes you a while to chomp through them, especially having played with them already. I know that's for a fact, and they've the way that they've made them tougher is by adding in these other abilities to be able to heal your own fighters, and being able to heal your own fighter for a double, and you quite often end up with doubles just left over, or you know, you've got a wild dice you don't know what to do what else with, so just turn a single into a double and heal yourself. Especially with this double, I found, especially in the games I played, if you have a 5 or a 6 on your dice, maybe even a 4 on your double, definitely save that to use for Disgustingly Resilient, because then you get to roll that number of dice, and then each 4+ you heal a point of damage. So let's say you have 5 or 6 dice, you're looking at a 50-50 chance of roughly of actually getting on a 4+ getting healing 3 damage, which for the Plague Bearers especially, who only have 10 health, toughness 3, that can be quite helpful for them, and it can be the difference between your opponent having to spend another action to attack you and finish you off, or not quite finishing you off, I found. So it definitely is quite good for those people who are saying, oh, why are Nurgle not very tough in Warcry, why they all got toughness 3, they look awful, you know. They're not, they are really tough. They take a long time to chomp through. 50 points per Plague Bearer as well, that's really cheap. So I mean, yeah, we'll get onto that in a bit. I want to carry on through these abilities. A double for Acidic Slime Trail. This can be used by your Beasts of Chaos. So essentially they leave a trail behind them of acid, and your opponent slips through it and kind of, you know, tries to chase after you through it and burns to death essentially. But you pick a visible enemy fighter within an inch of your Beast of Nurgle. Your fighter then makes a bonus disengage action, so a free disengage, fallback. Then allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of the ability. This, in my opinion, is one of their strongest abilities, and definitely a reason to take at least one Beast of Nurgle. It's a double, so if you get a double 4, 5, 6 values in, I've found playing with at least the Demons of Nurgle anyway, that the value on the ability dice is really important for their abilities, from what I've seen so far, for pretty much all of them, to be honest. So if you have, for example, a double 6, you can use this, a free disengage for 3 inches to get away from your opponent. You could do this after 2 attack actions to finish your opponent off, and then, or maybe not even, but yeah, you could finish them. For a double, you can cause 6 damage after that if you have a double 6. Even, just a low value on the double would be good if it meant that you just finish off your opponent's fighter. Doubles are so easy to obtain, and it's one of my favourite abilities for them. I think it's very strong. But let me know what you think in the comments. Then you have double for Venomous Sting. This is I didn't use this ability, I don't believe. It's for the plague drones. So essentially, like their mosquitoes and the actual drones themselves can issue a Venomous Sting. So pick a visible enemy fighter within an inch of this fighter and roll a dice on a 2+ until the end of this battle round. The end of this battle round, the fighter cannot make move or disengage actions. The only problem I have with the ones where you have to be within an inch, like these net abilities, when you have to be within an inch of your opponent, a lot of the time, using a double or a triple or whatever to net your opponent so they can't move or disengage. There's not too many occasions where I'd want to use that, because if you're activating your drone, chances are you're going to want to, if you're already within an inch of them, you're going to want to be attacking a couple of times. You might either be killing them or not, and if you don't kill them, why would you want to stick them in there? The only thing I can think of is to stop them running away for the rest of the round if they haven't activated, or to get onto a run and then get onto an objective maybe, but it's very situational. I'm not so keen on that. Obviously it's on a 2+ as well, so on a roll of a 1 you're not even getting the ability. So I prefer the 3-inch range nets, such as I think the Gloomspike Gitz netter and the Splintered Fang net True Blood Leader have the 3-inch range when we can chuck it on them instead. So much stronger. But you never know, it could come in handy, that Venomous Sting, especially as your drones are your quickest models. Triple Cloud of Flies. This one is for the Nurglings, can use this. So until the end of the battle round, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristic to a minimum of 1 to attack actions that target this fighter. And this is pretty cool. Obviously it's a triple, so slightly more expensive, but could be worth it. A lot of fighters with range tend to have only 2 or 3 attacks, maximum 3, kind of 2 really. So again, especially against ranged bands, because it doesn't say in combat, it just says subtract 1 for any attacks that target them. I suggest, and I haven't tried this out myself in all honesty, but if you tournament roster or anything like that, put a Nurgling both in your dagger and hammer, maybe 1 in each battle group even, and then use that triple. So you get battle plans where you have to take out your opponent's dagger or hammer. That means you've got a Nurgling in each one, and you can make it harder on a triple for your opponent to kill your dagger or hammer, and it would make it harder, I guarantee you that, because especially against certain warbands, reducing your opponent's attacks by 1 dice until that end of the battle round, so any attack that targets them, is quite strong, I think. I think that could come in real handy. So you'll find probably some games you don't use it at all, and obviously if you only have 1 Nurgling in your warband, you might not use it at all, but I would certainly suggest trying it. I think it's pretty cool, and very kind of unique as well. I haven't seen that one before. The leader triple for this warband, Grandfather's Blessing, of course, Nurgle, Grandfather Nurgle. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the strength characteristic of attack actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less, made by friendly fighters whilst they're within 6 of this fighter. So, toughness and strength buffs I'm not usually a fan of, But when it's an aura ability that gives it off, and it benefits yourself and fighters within like 6, for instance, in this case, of your leader, I think they're much better. Especially as Nurgle are only strength 3. Against certain warbands, going up to that strength 4 could be pretty good, to be fair. Your beasts of Nurgle are strength 4, so they'd go up to strength 5 as well. So I think that's a pretty good one. I could see myself using that one more than, say, yeah, I'm not even going to go into it. People should know by now if you watch my reviews what I think of strength and toughness boosts for like one action. I just don't see the point in it. I think it's such a waste of a double. But that is my opinion. The quad ability for Nurgle Daemons. Now I believe this, I'll have to double check my cards quickly. Okay. So I believe I've made an error here already, so I'm just going to have to correct myself here. The Cloud of Flies, I apologise, is actually on the it is on the demons themselves, so the Plague Bearers. But the quad ability, so the Cloud of Flies, where you reduce the number of attacks that your opponent has against you, that is on the Plague Bearers. The Nurgling one is the quad ability. So I got them mixed up. They look very similar. The cross with the skull in the middle, they look far too close for me there, to be honest, to work it out. But I've worked it out. I didn't use either of these abilities in game, so therefore I wouldn't have mixed it up anyway. Triple for Cloud of Flies and Endless Swarm for the quad. I didn't get to use either of them in the end. Endless Swarm for the Nurglings is the one we'll go over now then. So remove a number of damage points allocated to this fighter equal to the double the value of this ability. So as far as I can see, like I've just said, this is on your Nurglings. Nurglings are 30 health. So just as good a reason, to be honest, to put your Nurglings and your Plague Bearers in your Dagger and Hammer. Because, or just include a lot of these fighters in your warband, purely because the ability to heal double the value on the die. So if you had a quad 6, you could heal 12. That's a big deal. Then, you know, if you technically, if you wait with your fighter and then activate them again, it's a separate activation, so you could heal again in a second activation by using a different ability, like a double or something, which I think is very strong. You know, that's definitely a tactic I think you could use. But yeah, being able to heal your Plague Bearers, your Nurglings. Nurglings have 30 health, like I say. I think that's quite good, to be honest. I like that. And it's a shame. I think the only quad I got in over both games was, so spoiler alert, was a quad 1. And I'm not going to heal 2 for a quad. It's just not even worth trying the quad. Rampage is a much better option. So, but I could definitely see myself using that one, especially in games where your opponent's, like I say, hunting down your dagger or your shield, something like that, and you need to heal your fighters to stop your opponent. At the end of the day, it's better than a respite for a triple. So that is all the abilities. Sorry about getting the two mixed up there, but I'm not going to bother editing out because it's a quick switch, and the point still remains for the what I mentioned earlier anyway. So what I'll do now is the cards should all be above me for the Nurgle Demons. The fighter options, I'll start with the normal Plague Bearer loadout. So obviously your normal demons, 50 points, like I said earlier, very cheap for your demons, means you can get plenty in there, and it means that Nurgle Demons and most of the new demon warbands are can possibly swarm, so that gives them the ability to swarm, should I say. So it's pretty brutal. Only movement 3, all of your different fighters have different movements and they kind of go up in movement. They're quicker than you think though, Nurgle. I must be honest, Nurgle Demons, you'd expect them to be slow. It definitely shocked Alan, my opponent, who many of you will know, playing the Caradron, who can be quite quick with their flyers. They underestimated the speed of the Nurgle, I think, once you get them going. But yeah, movement 3, toughness 3 is a thing across most of the warband as well. 10 health, quite low health really. Movement 1. Sorry, range 1 on the attack, 3 attacks, strength 3, 1/4 damage. So one thing I have to note with these attacks, 3 attacks, only strength 3 obviously, but you have that strength buff from your leader if you need it. 1/4 damage. Now, 3 attacks, decent chance of getting a crit, and 4 crit damage is very high for a 50-point fighter. So if you want to use Onslaught on anybody and you've got them in combat, use it on your Plague Bearers, because 4 attacks per attack action with Onslaught, with 4 damage on your crits, that's very high crit damage. And I've noticed that, I think the demons, I haven't done the other demon reviews yet, but I've noticed just from a quick glance that they tend to have 4 crit damage as well, so it seems to be a thing across the demons. And that's strong. That's a strong thing to bear in mind. Definitely go for high attack dice rolls to make the most of that crit damage, is what I would say. The leader option is 120 points, with kind of like the heads in his hand and the horns, the antlers. Movement 3, toughness 3, 20 health for your leader. Range 1, attack 4, attack, strength 3, 2/4 damage. So nasty in combat again there as well for the leader. Nurglings, these guys are cool. So these are your little savage dudes, your little minions, your little green rabbids. Movement 5, getting quicker now again. Their toughness 3 still low, but 30 health. I guarantee you will struggle to get through these guys for the points value. They have very good health for the points they're worth. Very, very tough to grind through, especially if your opponent makes the most of the healing abilities for Nurgle. Because bear in mind, these guys can use the quad ability to heal, so double the value, so nasty stuff. Range 1 attack, 6 attacks, strength 3, 1/3 damage. Once again, you've got 6 attacks, that's 1 in 6 chance of getting a crit. Your crit damage is 3. So, you know, you'd hope for maybe even 2, maybe even 3 crits in there per attack action for 3 crit damage. That's nasty stuff. On slaughting, you'd have 7 attack dice if you really wanted to. So, and then, you know, you've got all the other combos like buffing your strength from your leader, etc. to up your chances of getting normal hits as well. It reminds me actually of the Spirit Host from Nighthaunt, that one, especially with the high health. Beast of Nurgle, this is also one of my favourites in the warband. The nasty looking massive guys. Their bases are huge, by the way. They're on 60mm bases, so you can definitely get into the middle of a lot of enemy fighters with those. Take up a lot of the map with them. Movement 4, so they're like the mid-range movement. Toughness 4, now these are one of the only fighters in the warband with higher toughness. 30 health still as well, so that makes them a lot tougher to take down. I don't think I lost the Beast of Nurgle in either game. They are ridiculously tough. They have also that Slime Trail disengage, cause damage ability with the Acid Slime Trail. Nasty stuff. Really powerful ability. 175 points, so not cheap, but good for what they are. Range 1 attack, 4 attack, strength 4, 2/4 damage as well, so nasty base damage. They're going to be dishing out quite a lot. Another good reason to use Onslaught there. Now we go here onto the Plague Drones. They are the last fighter choices for the warband. The normal Plague Drone is 170 points. They can obviously fly, so they ignore terrain. Movement 6, highest movement in the warband. Toughness 4, so they are the other fight. It's not just the leader, sorry, it is both Plague Drones have options have toughness 4, to be fair. So once again, very tough, and 30 health as well, so not getting through them too easily. Range 1 attack, 3 attacks, strength 3, 1/4 damage. So only strength 3, but like the normal Plague Bearers, they have 4 crit damage, so worth possibly onslaughting there. The leader option is 230 points, 35 health, highest health in the warband characteristic. Toughness 4, movement 6, range 1 attack, 4 attacks, strength 3, 2/4 damage. So your normal damage goes up by 1, and so does your attacks characteristic. Obviously, you then have leader ability option and the Plague Drone ability option there with that leader as well. I think he's the better leader option to maybe take, but don't take my word for that one. I need to play test them a bit more, but certainly glad that I could do this review / faction focus with having played them already. I think that's always nice. Can give a better opinion on them, better overlook. But just to finalise in conclusion, I suppose, Demons and Nurgle seem pretty strong actually. I think a lot of the new demon factions will be pretty strong. We've already seen the Tzeentch demons are up there, like top tier. I haven't seen a lot of the other Demon Warbands yet, but I'm going to be doing those reviews, like I say. They seem like they're going to be up there. I think they're going to be pretty hot on it, to be honest. The Mortal Warbands I'm not sure about yet. I'll have to see with them. Some really nice abilities in there. I really enjoyed playing these guys. Very cohesive warband. There's a good shout for every single fighter option in this warband. I don't think there's a weak point in the warband. I think most of the abilities are usable, to be honest. Maybe one or two you wouldn't see so often, but certainly are usable. They are really tough. I'm not going to lie, they all have pretty high wounds characteristic, and if not, like the Plague Bearers, they're cheap for the number of wounds they have and the ability to be able to heal, etc. I think this is going to be a really interesting warband going forward, and hope you enjoyed the review, folks. Please do leave comments below, like I say. What do you think about what I've said? Compare it to what you think about them. Let me know what list you're building, what you think of the bat rep that I've put out. Please leave comments over on that video as well, and if you haven't watched it, go and check it out now. Otherwise, I'll be releasing, like I say, reviews, so do subscribe for all the new Warcry content. We also cover Kill Team every week, so if you want to check out Kill Team, maybe get into that. It's Games Workshop's other kind of sci-fi skirmish game, Warhammer game, so if you want to check that out and you like Warcry, please do. Otherwise, see you next time, guys, and happy skirmishing.